Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters, from anime, series, or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86, and today from Funko Pop and King of the Hill, I present to you Bobby and Peggy Hill. On the side of the box you have an image of Bobby Hill with the illustration of his backyard. On the back side you have the characters that were part of this series, so you can see Connie and Bobby grown up, and you have the two that I'm showing today, which is Kid Bobby and Peggy Hill. And there you have Peggy Hill looking through the window, and on the side you have Peggy Hill again with the illustration of the backyard. So this is the first one, Bobby Hill, and if you remember this pose, it comes from one of my favorite episodes, which is the one where Bobby was kicking everybody in the groin. If you remember, he was getting picked on by Chang and his friends, so what Hank basically suggested was for Bobby to go to the YMCA and learn some boxing. But in typical usual fashion, Bobby actually went and got training by the women's self-defense, and that's where he learned the technique of kicking everybody in the groin, especially with Bobby's favorite catchphrase.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
That is one of my favorite episodes. So I'm happy that Funko Pop decided to portray Bobby doing his famous kick. Overall, the figure does look nice. In case you're wondering, the head does rotate, but I think if you rotate it to certain angles, you will lose the image of Bobby kicking. As far as the quality goes, it's typical Funko Pop style. If you look at certain sections closely, you can see where the paint bleeds over into other sections, but other than that, the figure does look really good. And that is why I picked this particular Bobby over grown-up Bobby. In this particular series, not only did you get Peggy Hill and Bobby Hill as they were portrayed in the original series of King of the Hill, but they also gave you grown-up Connie and Bobby. The next one is Peggy Hill. Obviously, with having Hank Hill and having Bobby, by default I had to get Peggy. I will admit, out of all the King of the Hill characters, Peggy Hill is my least favorite one, and I'm not just sure why. I think it's how just her character was written, where she thinks really highly mighty of herself, but you are able to really quickly see her downfalls and personal strengths and personal deficiencies, especially when it comes to her speaking Spanish, which is a really good running gag in the whole series, which honestly it is really funny, especially in that episode when she went back and brought in the little girl from Mexico, where Peggy freaked out thinking it was one of her students, and she basically snuck her back into the border. And she was very proud of her Spanish, but the way she was able to get out was by the lawyer tricking her into showing how really good her Spanish was, which I think is just something that she is really oblivious to. But she does have some good redeeming qualities. Overall, the figure does look good, and it does capture Peggy in her standard outfit, and obviously she's got her purse. Funko Pop did include a stand for this Peggy Hill character. For me, I see it as optional. As you can see, the figure does very well standing up on itself. But I think if you're gonna display the figure on a shelf, I think it's best for you to use the stand, just in case something happens, because I can see how the figure could easily be tipped over. If you recall, I already have two videos between Funko Pop and King of the Hill. The first one was Hank Hill and his friends drinking beer in the back of the alley. Then I had Lawnmower Hank. And going back to the Lawnmower Hank video, I did say that you could pose Hank with Dale, Bill, and Boomhauer around his lawnmower. The other thing that you could do now is what you see here. So I have Lawnmower Hank with Bobby and Peggy, and obviously Bobby being a little bit mischievous, you can see him kicking the side of the lawnmower. So now you have another avenue of displaying the figures. Here in my case, I have them all drinking in the alley, and now I can complete Lawnmower Hank next to Peggy and Bobby. So I am glad that they did give us the Peggy figure. I still want a Connie version, as a kid, not the grown-up version. And I would also like to have a Nancy and a John Redcorn one. And you can't forget about the Joseph figure. So I think by having Connie, Joseph, Redcorn, and now that I think about it, you also want Connie's parents, right? Con and Ming. I think that would basically round up all the main characters of King of the Hill. So hopefully in the future we get those. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.
Pop, see?
You left yourself open, Dad.